Hi, welcome to Petradot. And in this lesson, we are going to be talking about variable scope. Variable scope defines how a variable is accessed in a program. And in Java, we have two scope in which variables can appear. Is either it is a local variable or a global variable. Now, what is a local variable? A local variable is a variable that is just defined within a specific block of code. For example, a method, a constructor, right? Or inside an if statement or inside a loop. As far as it is a block of code, you remember when we said that the block is enclosed with these two, the opening and the closing curly braces. So if a variable appears within this block of codes in a program, then that variable is a local variable. Also, variables that are defined within a local variable are just accessed, can be accessed only within that particular scope, right? And anytime the variable is only created when that particular block of code is called, and anytime that block of code finish running, the variable is destroyed. It no longer exists, right? For example, let's say we have a method that says void print name, for example. I will come here and define strange name equal to Petradot. Now, this name can only be accessed here. If I come here and try to access that name now, you see that it will be showing error because it never existed here. So it is only accessible within this scope, right? Within this scope. So at this point, the variable name is a local variable. So it is just accessed or available within this particular block of code, this particular scope. So it's actually a local variable. Again, is anytime you create a variable inside, you create a local variable, it must explicitly be initialized before you can use it here, before you can actually use it anywhere. So, for example, as you have defined name now, you must have to assign a value to it before you can actually come here and use it. So, this is how a local variable works. So, a local variable can only be accessed within the scope it is created, and local variables are created inside method, constructors, and any block of code, right? Then the difference between it and global variable is that global variables are defined outside a block of code, like a method or constructor. You define outside it is defined within a class. For example, inside here I can say int a, right? So this variable a now can be accessed anywhere. If I say a equals to 10 here, this has to be static, so it can be seen because it's a static this thing here. So a can be accessed here, and I can as well access a here. I can also come here and say a is equals to 20, right? You see it now, because it is a global variable defined within the class, not inside a method, right? So the difference is now, just like we said, is that a local variable must have to be initialized before accessing it, because it doesn't give a default value to it. But a global variable, you can initialize it and use it without, you can define it without initializing and still use it, because by default it comes with a default value. So if it's an integer, for example, it will be assigned 0. Let's say, for example, I want to print the value of a system dot out dot print line, and I print a. Let's see what this a is going to show now whenever we run this program. You can see it is showing 0 by default, even though we never initialized it, right? That is the difference. So a global variable comes with a default value. For example, integer is 0, object is a null, right? So they come with default values. But when you create it within a method, it must explicitly be initialized before you can use it. So to recap what we just said, variable scope defines how a variable can be accessed in a Java program, and we'll have two scopes, which is local variable and global variable. We say that local variable is defined within methods, constructors, or block of code like the if statement and loop statements, right? While global variables are defined within the class, that is outside this various block of code we mentioned, which include method, constructors, the if statement and loop statement. All right, and that is all for this lesson. If there is any question, do well to use the comment section, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you.